for read. And so we introduced analogy phonics, where we make them aware of the onset and rhymes for words like, tall, gold, kind, and then they have the family. So if they can read all, they should be able to read tall, fall, ball, and same way spell it also. So we introduce analogy phonics for words that cannot go by the sounds, and there is research which says that 500 primary grade words are derived from only 32 rhymes. So the importance of teaching them the onset and especially the rhymes is very important, because 32 rhymes but 500 words. So phonics instruction, where you introduce now the symbol, they're aware of the sound, so the symbols are your letters, and this is through, you can go to the next. So we have this alphabet arc, and all the sounds are introduced through keywords. So we just show you, demonstrate one. And of course, like we said, we use the multisensory approach. So it starts with skywriting, goes to desk writing, finger tracing, and then, we introduce crayons. So this is all at the kindergarten level before we introduce them to the pencil and, the finer font.
Long, straight up to the top line, and straight down to the baseline. Stop, straight up, crosses above the midline. Once again, long, straight up to the top line, and straight down to the baseline. Stop, straight up, crosses above the midline.
So we introduce directly cursive handwriting, because there is a lot of research that talks about the importance of cursive handwriting and how it prevents, in case of students with visual perception and especially students with dyslexia, how it curtails the reversals. And what we have found is that in the schools that we have introduced cursive handwriting, these two schools, from the time the children have been introduced to cursive handwriting, complaints from the teachers or the written work of the children, we have not seen any reversals in the written work at all. Prior to that, when they were using print in school, there were umpteen, complaints and n number of children who would write B as D and P as Q and 9 as P and W as N, U as N, right up to the fourth grade. But we have been, I think it is the program, and because it just cannot be a coincidence that suddenly you don't have children doing any reversals while writing. So we just quickly take you through. We start with the large. So from when they come to the paper, we start with the larger font. From words they go to phrases. You can just move on, Ramiza. Just not working. It's not working. So we just move on. So this is just to show you the work of this is the actual work of the children, and their kindergarten children. So to show that, because we had a lot of questions, like when we introduced cursive writing in the schools, we were questioned, that how can you introduce cursive writing in the kindergarten? How will the children write? How it's too difficult. The formations are very complex, and so on and so forth. And we just have to tell them, you give it a try and you see. The most resistance is actually from the teachers, because for them it is unlearning and new learning, and we have to tell them that you just try it out. If it does not work, then we will have a discussion on it. And what the teachers found was, and they reported that they struggled with cursive handwriting because they were not used to it, but their children did beautifully, and this is the work of the children. So like we said about tracing and all, and this is the program, just the order in which we go. You can skip, Ramiza. So just showing you how the teachers, prepare aids to reinforce what has been taught, just to make it interesting for the children. So you can see these are kindergarten children writing. So over here, then the children were given the picture, and they were asked, write two sentences, one or two sentences of the picture, and these are the sentences formed by the children without any help. And see, so beautifully, it has been written in cursive handwriting. So cursive handwriting is what we have seen really works wonders. This is of course at the primary level as we move ahead. So you have that child also, uh, having some drawings made to this. And this is our analogy phonics. So because you can't, ONE is one, but yeah. And then we introduce the vowel consonant E syllables, and we introduce all the six syllables. So by the time they're in grade 4, they have been introduced to all the six syllable types. That is closed, open, naming, R control, final stable syllable, double vowel, and so on. So this is just the beginning of grade 4. So
When a base word ends
So-
of ed says egg. For example, lauded, lamped. When a base word ends with a voice sound, ed says, for example, travel and toy. When a base word ends with an unvoiced sound, ed says, for example, trip.
So that's it. So the takeaway for us has been, and I hope it is for you too, that phonological awareness, phonics instruction, alphabetic knowledge benefits all kinds of learners. Thank you for being present and attentive to what we had to share. If you have any queries, because I don't know what's the time. I mean, 2:45.
No, but have you tried this thing? These are for normal children, right?
Yes.
Like any things on children with any.
Yes, so the children in the class, it's a mainstream school, so it is not that you don't have. We know that 10% of the population, 5 to 10% has dyslexia, 15 to 20% of the children have some kind of neurodiverse needs, or some. It could be hearing, problem with hearing, vision. Then you have children who are on the spectrum, children with attention deficit, some diagnosed, some not, and of course children with learning disabilities. So what we have seen is, so that is what we are saying, that the reversals due to cursive writing. So the poorest of the handwriting also in the classroom is very, very legible. And especially when it's a boys' school, so even the most inattentive and hyperactive student writes in really good handwriting. It's very legible. So that is why we, like you are saying, uh, these children are able to cope because they are not just sitting in a class listening to the teacher and copying from the board. They are involved, right? It's a multisensory approach. So all the senses are used simultaneously and they're involved in the whole process. And they have come to the primary grade right from, being exposed to this kind of methodology from the time they have entered the school in the nursery.
So you, how do you go about this? Like, you train, you have some selected schools which abide by this.
So we have these two schools, like we are working with just these two schools because we don't have time. We don't have, the faculty to do this. So it's, we have other schools also who have, approached us now because they have heard about this program and they have seen the work. So we are into teacher training, curriculum development and teacher training. She is in the girls' school. She heads the department over there, and she does the curriculum development, and she's the resource person for English and maths. So in the earlier, free lunch I had spoken about, right, that we use the CRA methodology, concrete abstract representational abstract methodology. So so in both the schools, right from the nursery, the CRA methodology is introduced. So everything is multisensory in the pre-primary and even in the as we progress in the primary. Primary is taking a little time to, but our pre-primary is well settled now in both the schools, and the teachers are doing an excellent job. And all the teachers that you saw are mainstream teachers. They have no background in special education, no specialized training. Whatever training they have received is from us, uh, whether it's language or maths. But it takes a lot of time because first for them to accept some of the teachers with 14 to 20 years of experience, and they were like, we have been teaching for 14, 20 years, and our children are doing well. Why can't we continue with the way we have been teaching? But they are the same teachers who are now advocates of a program. So I think that's the best feedback for us.
Okay, do you have some program or intervention for children? So these are all children, normal, but we, from a very young age. But when we identify early to get a later stage, like maybe
No,
fifth,
no.
sixth.
So,
right
you're
from
talking about fifth, sixth. So the thing is that when it comes to fifth, sixth, okay, we have not yet gone till there. So our program is we are doing the training only up to grade 4. You are not gone because when you go to grade 5, you have different subjects, different subject teachers. But what we have seen and what response we have got is because these children have gone through this methodology right up to grade 4, the performance, when the teachers in the secondary school report that with every batch, the quality of the work of the students is getting better and better. So that is the response. And for children who have, been diagnosed with this, so fortunately both the schools, she heads the skill enhancement department in her school. So they have a good team of, you want to talk about?
So, see, till grade 4, we are covering a lot of words in reading and spelling. So, that's the base, that's the foundation. Once they develop the skill of reading, they know the sounds, they know the rules. So, there are plenty of rules that we introduce. When does cap become cape, right? Then the base words, like the children know what is a base word, and they know when ed says when it says and when it says it. So they are picking up a lot by grade 4. So we right now we want to focus up to grade 4, because once they develop the skill, for example, syllabication. So even if they have unfamiliar big words, they are able to use the rule of syllabication, and especially the chin drop method works well with them. So they are able to manage. We have not even looked forward to doing it from grade 5 onwards. Our focus is to make the foundation strong by grade 4. And secondly, this is a mainstream program, it's an inclusive program. But when it comes to children with dyslexia or other learning disorders, then there is remediation happening. Okay, so this is in an inclusive setup with all the children in the class. So it benefits all kinds of learners. But then when it comes to dyslexia and other learning disorders, the children are given remediation. So that is separate, given by the special educators. I hope I've answered you. I knew what's going on in your mind. Yes.
See, we address the second part.
Yes.
The children who
So we are
who
trying
have
to
the
help them all kinds of learners in the mainstream itself. And then we do take our special educators, take children with specific learning disorders. They do one-on-one remediation with them, and it is an individualized plan then for each child.
So the same technique is applied there also.
So this technique helps for children with dyslexia. The sounds in syllables, all the rules of reading, and it's a highly structured and systematic reading program. But it has to be done at a one-to-one level, more of multisensory, right? So we do multisensory test writing and sky writing, but when we are working with a child with dyslexia, then we have the sand tray, and we have the clay. That's possible at a one-to-one level.
So no, as you told, it has to be done from a very young age. What problem we face is like we have a service in our department. When school going children, they come to us for the curricular support. Now, first of all, parents don't accept that their children have a problem or their child has a problem. So they come very late, that is in 8th standard, 9th standard, when the schools will tell, okay, now it is time for them to appear for board, we have to do an evaluation, and then they get to know. That time they come to us how to, we face lots of issues. So that's the time when we can't also help, and they have already crossed that age of implementing all these things, right?
But that age is not a bar. You can help adults also with dyslexia at
Okay.
any age. So she has helped people with dyslexia who are 40 plus and 50 years old, medical doctors who are doctors who are doing their medical courses. The professors have referred to her. So she has been working with adult dyslexics.
Okay, with the same strategies?
Yes, it helps a lot.
Okay, thank you.
And then they are very focused, right? They are motivated to learn when they come as adults. They are seeking help. They want to improve. So we see very quick results.
Thank you. Very nice. Yeah. No, we know the actual problems of our parents face. Nice.
Thank you everybody.
Thank you everyone for being here.
We should thank the earlier presenter for giving us this extra time. So does anyone want to share?
Something about the mainstream programs in your places.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.